with another episode of All Hands on Tech. I am your host, Claire Quirion, and this episode is in thanks to ACOA. DNS members can now access free professional development training every month from our website, so thank you to ACOA as always. Today we're joined by Kristi McKee, Senior Director of Client Strategy at Outshine. Outshine works with B2B SaaS and enterprise companies to accelerate revenue growth, guiding clients through the landscapes of modern marketing challenges and opportunities, showing them where to steer, which pitfalls to avoid, and where to test and experiment. Let's dive in. Thank you so much for joining us today, Kristi.
Thank you for having me.
So lovely to have you. I'm a big fan of Outshine. We were just chit-chatting about some lovely folks who work for you guys, and love everything you guys do, and you have some really great people there.
Thank you. Yeah, we always love crossing paths with DNS, so...
And now you're a new one I can add to the roster.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless you prove otherwise. No, I'm just kidding.
No pressure.
Okay, we'll start off with some icebreakers here as we do to loosen up. And I like this question because sometimes it gives me some tools that maybe I could tap into. What's one app or website that you can't live without?
So funny, I got my weekly "you're using your phone too much" notification from my phone, which is terrible.
Yes.
But I was like, oh, what apps am I using most regularly? So it was Facebook. And I was like, why is it Facebook? I'm not a Facebook active heavy user. Then I realized I'm a huge thrifter. I use Facebook Marketplace. I just am constantly scrolling. So Facebook Marketplace specifically is an app that I spend far too much time on in the span of a week. So yeah, Facebook with an asterisk.
Yeah, me too. I'm a huge Marketplace. Everything in my apartment, there's just so much good stuff.
I know there's so many things to be had. You get so many unique things. I have kids now, and like the amount of kid stuff you go through. Yeah. I just spent the entire weekend prepping to purge. So yeah.
So do you flip as well? Do you buy things with the intent to flip them and sell them again?
I love the idea of that. It's so much work, and I don't have the energy for the haggling and back and forth, so I don't do a ton of it. I've done it a few times, but it's exciting when you can do a nice little flip. But what about you? Are you a flipper?
No. I love that. Again, sometimes I'll buy something, I'm like, this is not right, and then I'll try to sell it for more. I try to play that game a little, as we all do. Don't hate me.
No judgment.
But no, the idea, I'm also just not crafty enough. I was like, I don't trust that I'll be able to make that thing better.
Yeah, I get that.
So I really don't try to do that. But it's a crazy, to be on Facebook Marketplace, it's crazy out there. I've had some really interesting experiences. Yeah. Good and bad.
Yeah.
Good and bad. But one time, then I'll stop talking. I'm clearly obsessed with it too. When you see someone and you click into their profile and you can see that they're like, upper class, and you're like, you have no idea how much this is worth, and I'm going to take you for all you're worth. It's so good. I have a rug right now. I bought it for $190. And it's a $5,000 rug. Takes too long.
It's the best.
Kidding
it's the
me.
best when someone doesn't know what they have.
They're like, just take it. I'm like, okay,
great, sure,
what else you got?
Yeah. Yeah. Any other listings?
Yeah, honestly, I'll buy whatever.
Yeah.
And just sell it for
sell
value.
it to me all. Yeah.
So good. So good. Okay. Tea or coffee?
Only tea. I feel like as a parent I should be in the coffee camp, but I am strictly tea. I'm boring. I just like an orange Pico with some milk. I grew up drinking it at my nan's house after dinner on weekends.
It's classy.
Yeah. So I've never gotten hooked on the caffeine jolt. I get like the jitters if I do try a cup of coffee. So I'll do like a sweet, like syrupy mocha.
Yeah.
That's as far as I can go into the coffee world. But yeah, I love tea. But I will drink like 4 or 5 teas in the run of a morning if I'm back-to-back calls.
That's very British of you.
Yes. I'm a sipper on calls, like on Zoom calls. Like I always have to have a beverage, either water or a hot beverage to be kind of sipping on while I'm participating.
Something to do with your hands.
Yeah, literally. It's absolutely just a nervous need. So yeah, I'll go through 4 or 5 cups in the morning.
I love it. I love an orange Pico. That's a classic.
It is a classic.
If you could instantly become an expert in anything outside of work, what would it be?
I would love for this to be a more interesting answer, but I say this with like heavy makeup on over my eyes. I think if I could get my 3.5-year-old to sleep through the night without his dad or me supporting in some way, without him waking up, without us having to put him to bed for an hour before, if I could just get him to sleep, I could be a sleep expert. It would be life changing.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I think honestly that might sound boring, but I think it's actually realistic and might resonate with a lot of our viewers. I don't know the demographic of our listeners, but There's probably someone with a 3-year-old
like
out there.
working parents, it's no joke when your kid does not sleep. So time change this weekend threw us all for a loop. We're just surviving.
The whole week is ruined.
Yeah, we are surviving. Yeah.
Well, thank you for being here. You look great.
Thanks. I'm trying to survive.
Doing your best. Okay, so kind of getting into the things here, we're going to talk a lot about SaaS. We're going to talk a lot about brand and marketing. This year, we've seen a lot of SaaS companies investing in brand awareness campaigns. Why do you think brand has suddenly become such a focal point in tech marketing?
Yeah, it's funny. Marketing is so cyclical, and I feel like every type of marketing has its moment every few years. And so a few years ago, brand was huge. There was a lot of VC funding in tech, and there was a lot of money to be had. And there was like the Monday.coms that were out there that everyone saw their ad 5 million times everywhere, whether it was like you were on Facebook, whether you were on Instagram, whether you were on LinkedIn, like it was just everywhere. And so brand was huge. And then as funding contracted, brand's often the first to get cut because it's the hardest to prove ROI because it's like, how do you prove eyeballs all the time?
Right.
And so brand gets cut and everyone switches to performance marketing. Performance marketing was then the buzzword of 2023, 2024. Performance marketing, every like new job title comes out, it's a performance based. And so it's really about short term. How do we fill the funnel? How do we get people converting and spending money? And the challenge with that is that works in the short term and that solves the executive pressures that people are feeling. But then eventually that well kind of dries out because you're not filling the top of funnel and educating people on your brand and and building awareness and understanding of your product. And so then as VC funding is rebounding a bit, we're seeing brand pendulum swing back to prominence where performance marketing and brand are both important, and brand is having this moment again because there's money to be had there. The funnel needs to be filled. Marketers are realizing that performance can't work without the other, and so it's really about finding some cohesion between the two, which is this really interesting intersection that we're at right now to help our clients figure out how to do that and how to really introduce it into their full program, because it does have a direct correlation. We built a slide for a client this past week where when they are in market with a brand campaign or where they amplify their brand efforts, and I guess to like backtrack, like by brand, I mean awareness, more of that top of funnel.
Right. Yes.
It's out there. Maybe it's billboards. Maybe it is videos where we're really driving views versus trying to drive conversion. So it's that more top of funnel piece. When that's in market, there was a direct correlation to conversions. And when they came out of market or they reduced their investment, the conversions started to decline. And so you can actually see the direct correlation between when you're investing in brand and when you're seeing performance conversions. And I think that is really powerful to be able to demonstrate. We've seen it across a number of clients in the recent months. And yeah, I think that's why it's making a resurgence. It's a necessary component to a full funnel marketing strategy in 2025 going into 2026.
Interesting. No, I can totally see that. And so the idea is like to not have them siloed. What are some of the risks of separating them and kind of running them on different strategies?
Yeah, it's challenging. I think the biggest risk from my perspective is you start marketing to your to your org chart and not to your user. And what I mean by that is that a lot of our clients will create either a brand person or a brand team, depending on the scale of your company. You might have someone who's focused on brand building. They do PR. They're focusing on more of the awareness, top of funnel, eyeballs, billboards, all of that. Then you have a performance team that's focused on conversions and sort of partnering with sales and driving that down funnel, bottom of funnel conversion to revenue. And when they're operating separately, there's a lack of cohesion between the unified message to the user. And like the user, even though you have different teams or different individuals running that, they only want one interaction with your company. Like they want a unified view of your company, right? Yeah. You are one company, you're not two companies. And so they don't care how you're structured internally. They care about what their relationship is with you. And so especially as millennials have become 70%, millennials and Gen Z, 70% of the buying committee. And so as they become more of that buying committee, they want that unified. They're looking for community. They're looking for authenticity. They're looking for a relationship with their brands. They don't want it to be fragmented. So when you do fragment those two things, I think the biggest risk is that you start maybe having a billboard or a connected TV ad that might have a broad messaging about your campaign, about your product, and then you have a performance ad that doesn't look the same, it doesn't sound the same,
Right.
it doesn't feel the same, and that creates that fragmented experience. So I think that's a really big risk, but it's also an opportunity then to align and be the difference maker to some of your competitors to really align that and create a cohesive strategy.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. And it can be, I'm sure, especially in these big companies when you have a lot of products or services that you're selling and a lot of moving pieces, and maybe you can be kind of like sub companies and products and lines. There's a lot going on.
Absolutely.
So it's simpler to kind of deal with those on an individual basis, but for a consumer, it's like, okay, well, you are.
Yeah, they don't care. Right?
Yeah, you're the ordinary. So like I see you as like one company and like all your products. I don't know how your internal teams work, and I don't care to.
I don't care who's focusing on like skincare versus like
you're one brand.
Yeah, exactly. It's just who are we engaging with and how are we engaging with you, and then where. Yeah. And so I think there's nothing wrong with having separate individuals and separate teams, but making sure that they're speaking and that everyone's sort of singing from the same songbook is really critical.
Do you find that clients are understanding that and understanding the importance of brand? Because I know sometimes in marketing, people have a hard time sometimes seeing value, because sometimes it's not always black and white of like, okay, I spent this much money on this ad and it made me this much money, so like building brands, myself coming from a marketing background, it took sometimes some education around like why this is important without being able to show them like hard numbers of like, and this is what it got you or will get you. So do you find that that's still kind of a push and a struggle with clients for them to understand, or do you think that's like shifting? People are starting to get it.
Sorry, can you rephrase just the last part of that?
It was about sometimes it's a lot of education around like why brand is important.
Yeah, I think it's becoming easier for our clients to understand the importance. One of the challenges that I think brands face at times, and I think this sometimes comes from the top or from a broader team conversation, is that there's flighted perspective around brand campaigns. So it's like, we're going to go into market with this big brand campaign and push, and we're going to build all this awareness, and then we'll just capitalize on it for the rest of the year through performance campaigns. Right. We'll turn it off and it'll be a 3-month stint.
Everyone will know who we are.
We'll all know who we are, and it's like fixed, done.
Perfect.
And I think what we're seeing and what we really focus a lot on is helping our clients understand the long-term impact of consistent and sustained brand initiatives. And that again goes back to bringing performance and brand together to understand what the full funnel journey looks like for a user. And so with a sustained brand campaign, you're thinking about those always on in market moments, but it's thinking about the platforms a little differently. So it's thinking about what the type of content is that's showing up on YouTube or on Meta. And then it's thinking about when are we asking people to convert? How are we bringing them through the funnel? And the funnel's not as clean as a lot of people like to think. You'll always see the funnel visuals of awareness, consideration, engaged, and converting. And it's a lot messier than that. People are across a ton of different channels at any given time. And so I think that understanding that we need to be in the right places in a sustained approach for brand, and then also complement that with being in the right places with performance and complementing those together sustainably, consistently, is a big opportunity that has been challenging. I think the data piece is really big of this too, and we focus on this a lot at Outshine. We really pride ourselves. We have an incredible analytics team, and we really pride ourselves on full funnel reporting, we call it. So it's really from that first interaction, first impression, first touch with a prospect through to the conversion and the revenue point. And being able to prove that value is huge. And I think that AI is making that easier. I think that just continued innovation in the data and analytics space. Like I said, our team has spent a ton of time looking at how we pull together GA4 data with our client CRM data, with the platform data, and bringing that together to create a holistic view. And so the more we can prove value of awareness, and I think everyone's still trying to figure it out. And if anyone says they've totally figured out awareness reporting, I will call their bluff. But I think that everyone's still trying to figure it out. But as we figure it out more, and as we create that fuller picture, it becomes easier to justify it, and to justify it in a sustained approach.
Yeah, that's awesome. That would make a huge difference. Like the further that the analytics can advance, and to justify it, to prove like this is what's happening, and it might not be, you know, overnight, but you can see the journey and you can conceptualize what we're doing here.
Yeah. And the targeting is getting more as AI comes into play with various platforms and sort of across the industry. Targeting becomes more advanced, and it makes it easier for us to be more thoughtful. So we're not just putting a TV ad out on CBS at X time. We're being able to use LinkedIn CT, like connected TV, and go on very specific channels where we know our audiences are spending, and we can use LinkedIn level targeting to target them based on job title or based on company size, et cetera. So we can use some of that smart targeting to make awareness work harder for us too, which is really huge to, it seems like it's an oxymoron to say targeted awareness, but it is really much more targeted these days.
Yeah. It's crazy to hear about the advancements. I mean, I feel like even not that long ago, like you'd have like lookalike retargeting and it'd be like, oh, you're a girl, 18 to 24. You must be like every other girl, 18 to 24. Exactly. It's like, that's not true at all, but okay. So it needed to grow and adapt, and there's been a lot of change in that area, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think the it's really led itself to that personalization piece. Yeah.
So personalization, the perfect segue. It's a buzzword in marketing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is. What does true personalization look like in SaaS advertising, and how can companies actually get it right?
Yeah, I think so. It's meant something different the last few years, and it's evolving. I would say if you had asked me 2 or 3 years ago what most people were saying, it was ABM, account-based marketing, and it was basically, okay, we're going to pick our top 500, 1,000, 10,000, 25,000 accounts that are highest revenue potential. We're going to select the 8 to 10 buyers that are likely to be in that. So the 8 to 10 roles that are be part of that decision-making group. And then we're going to hit them with ads. And we're going to go everywhere across all channels they might be. And we're just going to apply that targeting lens and that target account list. And like, that's personalized. And if you're really personalized, there was this moment of like, we're going to do one-on-one ads. They're going to be like, hey, DNS, you should buy our product for this reason. Like, hey, Claire, you should buy our product for this reason. And they were specific creative ads, and it was a ton of work, and that was viewed as personalized. I think what's happened in 2025 and what will continue to happen with the evolution of improved targeting, AI capabilities to be more nuanced in how we're creating ads, is that we are able to show up more strategically on the right platforms. And so going back to the millennials and Gen Z element, they are now the buying committee. They want to be part of a community. They want to feel like they're part of something. They don't want to be cold. Like, they don't want to receive a cold ad on a platform that they like don't intend to engage on ads with. So you have to really be thoughtful about where are they, how are they engaging on platforms, what feels authentic, and how can you show up in an authentic way there. And so we don't necessarily go on every platform for every client. And I'll use 2 sort of personas as an example within a same company. So within a same company, we work a lot with clients who are in that developer sort of space. You have a developer and you have a CFO, and they're both contributing to the purchase decision. Your developer is not going to download a white paper on LinkedIn. They are on Reddit, they are on Stack Overflow, they are on GitHub, they are on YouTube looking for highly technical content where they want to access to information on how to do their job better now, and they don't want to give you their information if they don't have to. So we might ungate things. We might go to Stack Overflow, or we might go to Reddit, and we want to hit them there with the right content that's maybe ungated, very highly technical. The flip side is maybe a CFO at that company. They're highly focused on efficiency, on finances, on how they're going to maximize the benefits of a product to maximize the outputs. And so they're also on very different platforms. They are probably engaging with thought leadership on LinkedIn. They might be reading the Wall Street Journal, where we can hit them with display campaigns. They might be reading specific like CFO type newsletters. And so the channels look very different for those 2 users.
Right.
And we need to build different experiences for them if we want to be actually personalizing their experiences with the product. And so it doesn't look like just let's group them all in a single campaign and just shove out a single ad that says the same thing to everyone. We're thinking a lot more about what does a personalized experience look like for a persona, and then how do we really create the right content, create the right offer, bring them through the journey in the right way using different channels. So it's no longer that let's be everywhere all the time. It's let's be in the right places in a really smart way.
Yeah. Super interesting.
Yeah.
So how are you able to target that personally? Like, how is that scalable?
Yeah. So I think AI is making it really helpful to understand your audiences in ways that we didn't have before. And I think that that's where our clients and where anyone in the industry can really unlock the true potential of their ads program, is just understanding who their audience is, where they are, and how they're engaging with content, and then being part of that. And I think there's sort of twofold of that, but AI is making that really easy because we can use sales calls information. We can input like deep research. We can like pull all of these different tools together, run them through a ChatGPT, run them through a notebook LM, and understand the trends. We can understand like information about where they're like what they're saying in those calls, or what website X is telling us about a website Y and how they're working together. We have that kind of information that we didn't have before. And so we still need that human oversight element of it. We very much can't just be like, okay, well, ChatGPT told me that we can hit them on LinkedIn, so we're going to hit them there with this offer. I think there's a lot of applying our own understanding of the industry.
Right.
But I think that really has allowed us to scale and understand how to target. And then in addition to all of the advancements that the platforms continue to make around targeting, we can kind of match those to the research aspect of it with the evolution of the platforms themselves.
Yeah. Very interesting. I love that. So moving over to, we talked about personalization. I want to talk a little bit about authenticity, which is another buzzword. I feel like that's been around when you talk about brand forever. So many brands want to show up in communities like Reddit, but ads fall flat when there's kind of no organic presence. How should SaaS companies balance advertising with authentic community engagement?
Yeah, we always obviously apply a paid lens to everything that we do, but I think one thing that we are very careful to do is to align with non-ads teams within a marketing org. And so we might work with an SEO team, we might work with the content team to understand like what are they doing elsewhere that we can tap into. And so a big part of that is the organic presence on platforms, whether it's Reddit, whether it's Facebook, whether it's LinkedIn. Ads programs really succeed best when, or an ads channel strategy really succeeds best when there's an organic presence and it feels like it's a natural part of the community, going back to like the millennial and what they value. That community aspect is important. And so if you're trying to go on Reddit, for example, with ads, and you're going in there cold and you're just repurposing the same creative from LinkedIn with a resized, chuck it on there, same headlights and everything, that doesn't fly there. It's a different environment. We know like people are talking very differently on LinkedIn than they are on Reddit. Pretty different community spaces. Yeah. And so being able to take the time to say, okay, what imagery is going to connect if we're putting out a static image ad or a video ad? What is going to feel native or organic to the platform? And then in addition, what is the organic team doing there? So the team that's running their organic social, are they doing AMAs, like Ask Me Anything sessions there? Are we learning information about what people care about there? Are there subreddits that we can be reading up on to understand like the type of language people are using, the keywords they're using that we can layer into our ad copy? So there's ways we can be really strategic showing up in an ads perspective by leveraging what's happening organically. The flip side of that is if nothing is happening organically, if you're not on Reddit at all, if you have no community and we just go in there with an ad on Reddit and there's absolutely like no community management aspect of it, it feels a little less authentic. And so that opportunity to like bridge what organic's doing with what we're doing from paid and amplify it versus treating them completely separate really is, I think, where we start building that sense of community. And someone who is warm to a conversation or a product or a brand organically on a platform is probably more likely to click an ad coming from them versus like, hey, where'd you come from? Yeah. I'm not thinking about you at all here. So I think that's the opportunity to feel authentic, is just to bridge the organic and the paid presence.
I feel like if you were to miss the mark on Reddit, they would definitely let you know.
Oh yeah.
People
they would
so mean on Reddit.
I know. Yeah. It's like, Yeah, you need to have the right approach. And I think it's like that, if the organic paid is for every platform, but yeah, Reddit's probably one where it's especially true that you want to make sure you're getting it right. Yeah.
Because they will
especially
let you
with
know.
a specific audience. Like you're going after dev audience and you have to try to hit them with this big corporate speak ad. It's not going to fly.
They're going to drag. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so funny. So when we talk about kind of all looking at this all holistically and to create a successful marketing strategy, measurement is often a missing link. What does full funnel measurement actually look like? And how does it connect brand equity to revenue growth?
Yeah, I mean, we spend a ton of time, as I mentioned, thinking about this. Full funnel reporting is sort of the bread and butter of what we offer our clients in terms of value beyond ads. And our ads programs would not be as successful as they are without I will sing their praises forever, our analytics team who really craft and maintain and manage our full funnel reporting that we do. And so I think that's critical, and that's sometimes where things fall off, or where it's harder to prove value, especially for the brand and performance conversation. It's harder to prove value if you can't tie the initiatives that you're doing. Like if you're going out into market and you're not actually managing the conversions properly, and you're not monitoring what's happening in the back end properly, and you're not able to tie it to revenue, you're going to have a hard time going to your next board meeting or your next QBR with your CEO and explaining why you spent $500K this quarter on platform X, or 20K or 5K, whatever your scale is. You need to be able to prove the value of marketing, and that's often where marketing budgets get shrunk, is when we can't prove that value. So for us, we want to make sure that our clients, as individuals, as marketers on their team, as marketing departments, as entire businesses, are successfully driving revenue. And so that full funnel reporting is really critical to be able to say, that ad that we placed in market then led this person to engage with this, and this. And then that slowly brought them toward conversion. This is the sales piece. And so we really, that is critical to a full funnel, because if we don't understand that, then how do we retarget them properly? If we don't know where they came in from, how do we build the right audience to then tell the right message and build that cohesive message through? And so we can slice and dice data in a ton of different ways using our full funnel reporting to understand the different personas, to understand how they're behaving on the website. We're still now the next conversation is GEO, AEO, whatever you're calling it, with AI and searches. How do we leverage what we're learning there to inform the ads and then how do we iterate? And so the other part of that too is if you're only looking in platform to optimize ads programs day to day, and you're not tying it back to what's actually driving revenue down funnel, you're kind of surface level making changes that are probably not having a big impact. But if you can go, okay, this campaign is actually driving this much money in pipeline for us, and so we should really ramp up the spend here, or we should, actually down to the ad group, those keywords on search are what's driving most. So let's increase money here, let's decrease our budget here. And so we really try to tie what we're doing day to day to that down funnel performance, and that reporting is really critical to that.
Yeah, totally. I can totally understand that. So looking ahead, if a SaaS company wants to future-proof its growth, what's one piece of advice you'd give when it comes to unifying brand in performance marketing?
I think it sounds counterproductive, but making AI human. And what I mean by that is we have so much available to us through AI right now, and it's kind of the Wild West. There's endless possibilities. There's tons of new tools coming out every day. Taking the time to understand what you're getting from AI and then leverage that to build campaigns that feel human. So going back to the community, to the connectedness, we can create more iterations of creative using AI now than we ever could before. So taking AI and leveraging that to make the experience more personal is a huge opportunity. And I think you still need that oversight lens, the human oversight piece. And I think that's where we really try to come in for our clients. But being able to think about the person at the end, leveraging AI to get there, whether that's targeting, whether that's using tools like Meta's Advantage Plus or other targeting capabilities that we now have that can iterate faster and learn faster, trying to experiment. I think right now, experimentation and being willing to experiment, but with that thread of that connectivity between brand and performance is a really big opportunity. So, I think personalization means something different right now. I think AI is kind of lighting that all up as well and giving us the opportunity to scale faster than we ever have before. But not forgetting who you're trying to market to at the end of the day is so critical. And I think that really everything from my perspective comes down to you keeping the user and trying to create a unified user journey, regardless of all the tools and bells and whistles that are out there to test.
I think it's funny. Like, I feel like no matter who we have on the podcast, there's always an element of AI that's, is sown through what they're doing and what they're using to grow and to innovate. And, but what is also consistent is no one is saying, this is going to replace this. It's like, it's allowed us to do more of this or something, or a little bit of this, which we couldn't before, which allows our team to focus more on this. Like, there's always still a human element.
Totally.
And it's not, I know there's a lot of sometimes hesitancy and fear around AI of like fully replacing things, but everything that we're seeing in our current market is it's shifting things around.
Totally.
And time is being spent on different things.
Yeah.
Especially in the tech market. I know in some other industries that might not be the case, but at least in this industry, it's just changing the way we work and what we spend our time on, which is really interesting. So thank you for sharing these insights. Hopefully for these SaaS companies who are listening, I know there's millions of you. You also found this really helpful. I learned a lot. Thank you so much. And hopefully we talk to you soon, Kristi.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, thanks.